I remember waking up from having a seizure. I realized I can't really speak. My tongue is so swollen. It's like a tennis ball. I'm looking down at myself and I realize I've wet myself. I have sick dripping from my hair. And I'm thinking, what on earth has happened here? I've obviously had a massive seizure.
Yeah, I still remember I saw you in some of your worst moments, and you've seen me in some of my worst moments, and
for sure.
Yeah, and it's
basically, that's a proof that if you want it, if you want change, anything is possible. Anything. I know that I went from a happy drinker to a problematic drinker. I had lost control. I didn't choose to drink anymore. It was a necessity.
Did you want to go into addiction recovery when you started to be a nurse? Or is it just or you wanted to? Yeah. So you did your nursing qualifications, then you worked in the prison, and whilst you've been in the prison, you've been doing is it like a degree?
It's a master's degree.
Yeah, which you completed yesterday. And you graduated yesterday.
Graduation. Yeah.
So, and now you're fully immersed in the recovery world. That's nuts.
Yeah. Look at me now.
Send your kids to bed because you're going to be listening to
dirty rotten DJs are just gagging.
I rarely do introductions for any video, but today I'm doing one, as this is potentially the most important video I will ever do, because this video could save a life or potentially lives. We're going to discuss today the real brutal topic of alcoholism and how it can affect people in so many different ways. I want to thank Emma for her openness about this topic and her near-death experience with alcohol. Now, I need you to listen to me. It took me 7 years from me realizing I had a problem to me getting sober. 7 long years. And throughout those 7 long years, I spoke to Emma regularly, and I still didn't get sober until I surrendered, until I'd had enough. I was at my rock bottom. If you think you've got a problem, if you even think you've got a problem, I urge you to talk to somebody about it and don't let it drag out. There's plenty of contact details below. Reach out to one of us, but please, I urge you to get help soon. I've been in recovery for 8 years, I'm 15 years, and I personally want to thank my family, my mum especially, Jelena, my partner, my kids, for getting me the help that I needed in Croatia, finding me a sponsor. I didn't find my sponsor. My partner did. How mad is that? And I want to thank Danny, who I originally spoke to, and my sponsor who worked me through the 12 steps. And of course, I want to thank this fabulously beautiful lady, Emmalena, for being there from the start. She is an absolute lifesaver, and she will continue to be a lifesaver. Now, this may be a tough watch for some of you. It may be a bit of a reality check, but I'm saying to you now, don't f around with this. This shit will kill you. Okay? If you think you've got a problem, reach out now. Do it now. Don't f around. Okay? Now let's begin. We are live, as Joe Rogan would say, with Emmalena. How are you, Emmalena?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, and probably people are thinking, "Who's Emmalena?" And I will let them know. Emmalena is somebody that I knew very well in Ibiza and is married to Dirty Rotten Dean, who has been on a previous podcast, the Dirty Rotten DJs. And we've had some issues over the years, haven't we, Emma?
We could say that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we first met in Ibiza. What was your first year in Ibiza?
Oh, was it 2000 I wouldn't say 1, but I actually think it was 2002.
Yeah, we were around the same.
It was the year after Dean.
We were around the same time. And it's weird because you're from Sweden, and at that particular era, there was lots of Swedish over, wasn't there?
It was.
San Antonio was a hub for Scandinavian tourism, wasn't it? At one point,
yeah. And a lot of the Spanish people, they spoke Swedish because there were that many Swedish people there.
Yeah. Yeah, Gorm's
and it was crazy.
Garage. Because Gorm's is something to do
And
with Scandinavia, isn't it? Gorm?
it probably was. And remember Nordkapp
Yeah.
and 78s and 90s were mainly Scandinavian.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Whereas A Little Mermaid, of course,
Yep, yep.
you know?
There was, and there was a lot of the workers were
Yeah,
all girls, though, I think. I don't
yeah.
think I remember any bloke.
A few Danish guys.
Lots of Swedish, luckily for us men. And you were all nuts.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
crazy girls. I remember. I won't mention any names, but we know who they are. But you all have this
We know who
similar
they are.
sort of like madness about you. That's for sure.
I think that's true.
Why did you come to Ibiza? I've never even asked you that ever, actually.
Yeah,
I've known you all these years.
so I had a Swedish friend. She was particularly crazy. And she went to Ibiza 2001. That's right, she went. She came back and she did not stop going on about Ibiza. And she said, you're going to have to come, you have to come, you have to come. I had a quite good job. I had my own flat. I was doing quite well at the time. She just wouldn't shut up about it. And eventually I said, fine, I'll go. And my manager at the time said, okay, you go for 6 months. And then when you come back, you still have your job when you return. I never returned. And I literally stayed for nearly 10 years.
Oh my God. I had no idea.
So that was it.
I've known you all this time. I've never even asked. Do I know this particular crazy friend? I do, don't I?
Swedish Ellen.
Yes. Very crazy. Very crazy.
Blonde, very beautiful.
Yeah, of course. All the Swedish are beautiful.
Crazy at the time. I think she's a different person these days.
Yeah, yeah. Now, we were really happy in Ibiza. We had a great 10 years that we were together over there. I mean, but unfortunately, when we came back to, should we call it the real world? Because we were in a bubble. Because you were like me. You've probably even stayed more winters than me. You must have done 10 winters.
Nearly, yeah.
And what did you do all
Nearly.
winter?
Well, there was this particular pub called the Ship Inn, and that was our living room, wasn't it?
It was.
It was our living room. We spent all our time there. Even, we were drinking, but it was also the way of socializing. We were hanging out there. There was literally where you catch up with your mates. You watched football.
Movie nights. Do you remember the movie
night? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And there was a lot fewer of us back then, wasn't there, during the winters? Apparently now, it's because people can work remotely, like we're doing a remote podcast now.
Oh, yeah, true.
So many people can work over there. And do you remember the years when Ibiza in the winter was really cheap?
It was cheap.
It was half
but
price,
also, wasn't it? It was really cheap. It was half price. But wasn't it also really, really tough? Because we didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
It was tough. We were skint.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
I think on my last podcast, I explained that we actually went fishing for our food once. I think Judge was involved at some point, but it was.
I think I remember this.
It was just like things getting as bad, but we were all very in the same boat, weren't we? The ship.
And we looked after each other, We looked after each other, and we were happy.
Yeah, and
we were happy.
It was living in Ibiza from like 2000 to 2010 bubble, and that's what it was, an absolute bubble. And and it was
that's it.
some of the best times of my life, because I have chunks of life now. I have like my raving in the England period, I have my Ibiza period, I have my Croatia period, and my sober period. Now, do you think, when obviously we're all very, very happy on the island, I loved drinking, and I know you loved drinking. And it was just,
I certainly did.
Yeah. And looking back on it, I've got no regrets. It did change me as a person when it started becoming a problem, I think, in my final couple of years. Did you ever feel like alcohol was taking a grip of you whilst you were on island?
To be honest, I don't think so.
Mm.
I think, like you say, I loved drinking. And to be honest, I think I was really pretty good at it.
You were.
I was so good at it. And I could go on for days and days and days,
We could, couldn't we? All of us,
yeah.
as a group, would do it for days.
As a group.
And
we were legends. We were good at it. But at the time, I don't think I had an issue with it. Maybe right at the end, I started noticing that maybe I really struggled on days I didn't drink, and I really rather have a drink than not have a drink, and maybe I could see a little pattern then. But to be honest, I wasn't worried about it.
Yeah, I started to realize in my last year. Do you know in the Alcoholics Anonymous book? I'm not sure if it's in the book or I've heard it in the rooms. They talk about an invisible line that you cross from being a normal drinker to a problematic drinker. I crossed that line and I remember the day. It just everything.
Weird.
Yeah, it was that black and white to me. Come back from England, and I went straight to the ship. And I was away for a few days. I can't remember what the event was we were doing in England. And all I remember is apparently I just passed out in the ship, just blacked out. And
Wow.
and then I woke up in the street down the road, and Martin, C4, took me, and I had to sleep in his spare room.
Wow.
But before that night, I would never really show signs of being drunk. I would always hold it together. But then all of a sudden, boom, I started blacking out. I started appearing very drunk, and it changing my behavior. So it was literally in a space of one day, I went from that to that. And it was just, and I knew I had an issue then because of the blackouts. And then I was sitting down with Pleasant Dave at Kilty's, and I said to myself, I'm not going to have a drink today. And I was sitting outside Kilty's. Within 20 minutes, I was in the ship having a pint. And it started to dawn on me then. I was like, you've got no control over this,
That's it. We become powerless, don't we?
Absolutely powerless. And this is why I wanted to speak to you today, because in Ibiza's great. Loved Ibiza, but it has that dark side. I mean, we've lost friends through drink and abuse of chemicals and stuff like that. Accidents being the main cause. Drunken accidents, I think, is probably the main cause of people that we've lost, not through pure wet brain alcoholism. I think that, but I know there's been a lot of people we've lost through car crashes and stuff like that who've been very drunk, when they've been, because it was like the Wild West, wasn't it? There was no control back then. And so you didn't really see any red flags when you're in Ibiza. It was just when you got back to the UK. What happened then?
That's it. And I do speak about this a lot, that, like you said, that invisible line. And I was drinking. I loved drinking. I was happily drinking. Somewhere along the line, something changed. And I don't know when it happened. It's a very sneaky, cunning disease, alcoholism. I cannot pinpoint when it happened. I know that I went from, a happy drinker to a problematic drinker. I had lost control. I didn't choose to drink anymore. It was a necessity. And when I came back to England, it quite quickly dawned on me that I remember having this thought that I don't think I drink like other people. And I quite often used to kind of, at that time, when we went back to England, we stayed at Dean's mum, and she didn't have internet in the house. So I used to kind of almost insist on that we went to one of these pubs that we can use the free internet. And I'm like, Dean, I think we need to go and use the internet. I need to send an email or whatever I made up that day just to kind of get to the pub. And I realized I've got an issue here. I really don't drink like other people. And it was really apparent that I needed a drink every day. And I think that escalated very slowly again until I started hiding drinks from Dean, sneaking bottles in, and, sneakily having sips in the bathroom, in the bedroom, hiding the bottles. And I think it just escalated slowly until 2010. My dad got very poorly, mainly from alcoholism. He sadly passed away in January 2010. And then I remember, actually, I'm going to tell you this. I was in the hospital visiting him. I had a bottle of vodka in my bag.
Yeah.
Visiting him as he was dying from alcoholism. And I knew that I was deeply in trouble.
Coping mechanism. That was your coping mechanism as well.
Yeah, and yeah.
Because any stress I ever had, straight away I would turn to a drink. I'd just drink
I know.
so I could forget about it. And that's obviously
it.
why you had a vodka with you then, because what a stressful time.
It was very stressful.
Yeah.
And when he passed away, in January, and after that my drinking just went from bad to absolutely catastrophic. It was I was drinking about 1.5 liters of vodka a day, neat, straight from the bottle, really, really poorly, and still trying to hide it. Dean tried his best, bless him. He's a saint, that man. He tried his best, to monitor my drinking and trying to kind of support me. The one thing he never did was he was never angry with me. He was never upset with me. I don't think once he raised his voice at me, because he knew that I was ill. He knew that I had a disease. And I think this is probably quite uncommon.
Very.
This understanding that he had straight away.
Very rare.
Which I'm really so very, very grateful for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the thing is, I was drinking about 1.5 liters of vodka a day. And on the days I tried to stop, every day it was this, I'm going to stop tomorrow. I'm going to stop tomorrow. Because, at the time I had a son who was just a few months old.
Yeah, I remember.
As well.
I remember that time.
Oliver was only little. But in all honesty, this is where the illness takes you. That I cared more about my next drink. I cared more about where I'm going to get the next bottle from than I cared about that little baby in front of me.
So powerful.
And this is what is so painful. But I had to forgive myself for this. I had to work through this because I was ill. I had an illness. I have this disease called alcoholism. And this is where it takes you. You stop caring about anything else.
Yeah.
So, it ended up with me having seizures after seizures. I was in hospital, in and out of hospital. And each time I said to myself, oh, but now I know how to not drink. I'm going to do it different this time, And you think, oh, but it'll be different. Now I know what to do. But each time, like you said, within hours, I'm back to doing the same thing again.
Insanity.
Doing is the definition of it.
Yeah,
doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. You don't. You get the same result.
And alcoholism it escalates. It gets worse. It's progressive. And also, just say if you or I was picked up again today, we'd start where we stopped off. You'd be on 1.5 liters of vodka within a day. Within a couple of days.
Because one will never be enough for me.
Yeah.
It simply will never be enough.
Do you
And I
still
think that's the
do you still
yeah.
laugh when you go into supermarkets and you see like someone buy a beer or something and they're like, I'm like, "You nutcase, how could you just buy one?"
Yeah,
Yeah. And
I
I
do.
see it a lot over here, and I just have a little chuckle to myself. Because one, it would be gone in a second, you know. It's like,
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes Dean has a beer. He doesn't often drink at home, but if he does, he can have half a glass of beer and then like, oh, I didn't really fancy anymore. And that to me is like, what? It's crazy.
you
Crazy
weirdo,
behavior.
weirdo.
Weirdo.
Yeah.
Weirdo.
And this a lot of the reasons I think alcoholism is very misunderstood. People think you're an alcoholic if you get up out of bed every day and you need a drink, whereas
That's it.
alcoholism has a lot of different faces.
Mm,
My alcoholism is binging, because
yeah.
I could go weeks without drinking and then congratulate myself by going out on the piss for 3 days and doing whatever and getting myself in all sorts of trouble. I don't
Yeah.
know how I didn't have a serious accident. I don't know how I didn't get myself into some serious trouble, because I was coming back with like bruises all over. I was waking up in the morning and I was like missing bits of my face, you know, and cuts and I had needed stitches and
Wow.
lost keys and I don't even know. And
Hmm.
I would wake up in random places and it just like, you know,
But you know what? I think this is such an important point you are making, that alcoholism looks so different. I don't think, like you said, it's not about the amount you drink or how you drink or when you drink. I think it's what happens when you don't have the drink. Because
mm,
what happens in your head, when that obsessive thoughts, I think it has little to do with the amount or how you
yeah,
drink.
it's
It's what happens when you don't have the drink.
now we had this discussion the other day. I'm under quite a lot of pressure. Summer always am, and I get this knot in my stomach, and it's
Mm,
anxiety. And when I was hungover or not drinking, I would
mm,
have this knot in my stomach of anxiety, of just feeling really restless and insecure and just anxious. And the
yeah,
only thing that would clear that, the only thing that would be a beer, the only thing. And now when I get that with work and stuff, I've got nothing to clear it except my mind.
that's
So
it.
it's extremely powerful. And obviously, when we're in Ibiza, that entire lifestyle masked all of that,
That's
especially
it.
in that generation, because I think the generations now are far more health conscious.
Mm,
They don't drink as much, they're not in the clubs as much. The pubs aren't as like they were. The West End isn't the
mm,
West End, you know, and that culture is different. But we were the generation of drinkers and drug takers,
mm.
and when we're in Ibiza, it was like we 10x'd it. It was tenfold.
That-
And I
That's
think,
it.
I mean, what was a
Agree.
what was a typical? Well, let's go pop back to Ibiza. What was a typical day like for you in Ibiza? Just say the last couple of years you were there, drink wise.
Gosh.
Taking you back now.
Yeah, you really are. So I used to work as a nanny when the kids woke up, usually feeling really rough. Taking the kids, luckily they used to love hanging out by the pool, so I used to hang out by the pool with them. I might have had to have a sneaky shot of something to get me, go and get my my hands steady again in the morning. But then looking after the children, I usually uh, went home about lunchtime and spent a few hours at home. I didn't always go home. I might have popped to the ship many of the days to have a few more shots, maybe.
Yeah, Bess.
Yeah, but oh god, I used to love that. I should have been sponsored by Airbus.
I think we all were. We made them a few quid.
I think so. And then I usually used to go back to work. And by this stage, I've had a few drinks in me, feeling quite good, quite chirpy. Look after the children, put them to bed. And when they went to bed, I used to sit in that beautiful villa overlooking the sea, have a glass of wine, loving life. And that was my days,
It was
Went
just
to sleep.
normal.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So it was drinking every day. And it was kind of almost a ritual that I wake up and I have this shot, went back home for lunch, have a few more drinks in me,
but you
kept
were,
me going.
but you weren't the only one. Everyone was like that. I remember,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm not just going to say this was just you. I can't think of any of the crew that we hung out with who was any different to that, really. Maybe a couple of people weren't quite as on it all the time, but we all smashed it.
You're
And the
right.
winter, I mean, just go back to that, was just, I think that's where a lot of the problems come in, especially for the girls, because there was no work at all. There was no building work or anything. So we'd
Yeah.
always find you guys in the pub at the end of the day,
Yeah.
And yeah, it was hard then going into the summer because you've been getting smashed all winter. And
I
then
know. Yeah.
summer's here and you're like, oh my God, I'm not up for this at all.
And you're knackered already.
I
But
was.
you know what? Like you said, because we all were drinking the same, you didn't feel like you were doing anything wrong because you're like, yeah, but everyone else is doing it. Everyone is drinking like me. Everyone else is having a shot at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's
Everyone
fine.
was, yeah.
It's fine.
Look at the builders when we used to go to work or we used to be coming back from the clubs. They're all in the cafes, and in the morning they're having their coffee with half a lager and the shots
Yeah.
with whiskey, and they're off to go to work at 6 a.m. I don't know whether
That's it.
that is still, because that was 20 years ago. I don't know whether, so that generation would have moved on. I don't know whether it's like that now, but you can understand that it was just normal culture.
It was,
and it was everywhere. And then people go for lunch and it would be always wine and shots and it was just. So moving back to London, when did you hit rock bottom? We all had that time. Do you remember?
So, yeah, I do. And it is kind of a sequel of events, really. I remember waking up from having a seizure and I was upstairs. I'm standing at the top of the stairs trying to call for Dean. I realize I can't really speak. My tongue is so swollen. It's like a tennis ball. I'm looking down at myself and I realize I've wet myself. I have sick dripping from my hair. And I'm thinking, what on earth has happened here? I've obviously had a massive seizure. I have no idea what time it is, what day it is. I felt really, really confused. Dean arrives at the bottom of the stairs holding Oliver, who's then, not even a year old. He's very young.
Which is lucky because he won't remember it. Yeah.
That's it.
Yes, same with me.
So Dean kindly, I still remember this. He looks at me. He goes to place Oliver in a safe place. He helps me down the stairs. He takes all my clothes off. He hardly says anything, but he's got this kindness, about him. He takes all my clothes off, put me in the shower. He washes my hair. He gets me dressed again. Somehow, he managed to get me and Oliver in the car. He drives me down to Mayday in Croydon.
Yeah, I remember Mayday.
And this is another vivid memory I have. He walks in and he literally screams in Amy, please, can somebody help her? Can just somebody help her? And a bit of desperation in his voice. And it still gives me goosebumps to this day.
Okay.
And this is one of the, however many times I'm in hospital, detoxing again. So I'm there for another week. And this time, I remember meeting this nurse, and she was very kind. She was lovely. And fortunately, I can't remember her name. I wish I could. and I could go and thank her.
One of the
Because I was
one of the
talking to her,
angels.
one of the angels.
Yeah.
I was talking to her, and I remember saying, if I could relive my life, I would want to do what you do. And she said the 3 words that I think came to change my life. She said, you still can. And from that, something changed in me. Something, significantly changed. And after that, I remember coming home from this detox, calling my mum and said, I'm done. I need help.
Yeah.
And she'd waited for this phone call. She had waited. She arranged for me to go to detox and rehab in Sweden. So just a few days later, I left for Sweden. And I remember saying to Mum, when you pick me up from the airport, under no circumstances can you pick me up with no alcohol in the car. Because I can't go into withdrawal now, because I'll have another seizure.
Yeah.
She was under strict uh,
So
strict,
you had seizures when you stopped drinking. That
bad seizures.
you were
Yeah.
seriously ill. So,
You
'cause
know,
I'd never reached that level, nowhere
Yeah.
near. But I know you were really bad, and you were lucky enough to find a program rehab in Sweden, which was very much different to the way they do it in the UK, if I remember rightly. It's proper
It was
hardcore.
slightly different.
Yeah.
Well, I had to go to a detox center first, and I stayed there for, I think, 10 days or so to be quite sedated, strongly medicated, to make sure I didn't have any more seizures, and very monitored. And then after that, I went down to south of Sweden to this rehab center, and I think I stayed there for nearly 3 months, actually. And it was
3
tough, but it was
months?
still based on AA and the 12 steps. So that was my first real introduction to the 12 steps. And when I'd finished that, I went home, and I came home a few days before Oliver's first birthday. And I remember that feeling quite significant, that from Oliver's first birthday and onwards, there have only been sober birthdays. And now
Yeah.
he's 15. So I've been sober 15 years in August.
Yeah, and so they've never seen you drunk, any of your kids, and it's the same with me as well. I mean, my rock bottom was just after Luca was born, so similar time,
Yeah.
and I literally went out one day and I didn't come back, for a couple of days, and
Wow.
then Yelena was just like, "You've got to choose the family
Yeah.
or sobriety," and then she managed to find somebody, an angel in 70 kilometers away who was involved with this thing called AA, and I always thought it was some like religious cult, and I wasn't too
But
keen at first.
I remember this because I think I spoke to Jelena a few times over Messenger, and I think I remember your first critical days there.
I spoke to you so many times about this for years, about 7 years. It must have been
Yeah.
about 7 years over the period of time where I was like, I've got to get but no matter how often you're told you need help, you only get help when you surrender to
That's
that.
it. That's it.
If you don't surrender to know that you're completely powerless, it's unmanageable, you just ignore it. And I went to you so many times that I don't know what to do, and the next thing I know, I'd be out drinking again. And it's
That's it. Because you know what? If it was as easy as if someone said, why don't you just stop for Oliver? Or why don't you stop for your mum? Or why don't you stop for your partner's sake? Or why don't you stop? If it was that easy, we would have stopped straight away. But
yeah,
alcoholism isn't that easy. It's such a layered, multi-faced illness. It's just very complex illness, isn't it?
and very patient.
It's
It's
very
very
patient.
patient because
It will wait for you.
I actually started attending AA before I found a sponsor. I started in Manchester, and
Mm.
it took me over a year to share. and I was still drinking through those meetings,
Yeah.
really in and out, and I
Yeah.
just wasn't taking it that serious. I was and I wasn't. I just wasn't truly invested in it, and
Yeah.
yeah, it took till I got to Croatia to realize that, holy fuck, I need to really sort this out. And I think it's when you get a sponsor who knows what they're doing, I think that's
Yeah.
when it really makes a difference. And if it wasn't for the person that's helped me through everything, I wouldn't be sitting here today. Yeah, it's because it's just, it was complete. I was completely out of control with a young family,
Mm.
living in a party island again in Croatia,
Yeah.
you know? And so how, how did it feel when you had to admit that to yourself that you had a problem?
Oh, do you know
Was it
what, Dexter? I
relief?
think, yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
think, and maybe I felt such relief that I realized that I had hit rock bottom. Maybe my thought wasn't as, clear as that, but something felt different in me that time. I'm done. And I think I had this really, really strong feeling in my gut that I'm going to die because my seizures were
Wow.
getting so bad. And I felt like I don't want to die. I want to be a mum. I want to be a wife and a daughter. And I want to I want to live. And I think that was a huge um, catalyst for my change, that I realized I didn't want to die.
So what scared you most going into recovery?
You know what? I thought it was terrifying thinking, how am I ever going to live without a drink? Like, because it felt like I had to become a different person, and maybe you do.
You do.
But I thought,
Yeah.
how will I ever laugh? How will I ever have fun? How will I ever be able to go out? How will I hang out with people? But
Yeah.
I find these days, oh, it's just a joy. I do not miss drinking at all. I don't miss it at all.
And you haven't closed the door on the good times that we had. And
No.
I I've spoken to a few people and it's just like, you're not ashamed of what you did in the past, blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, hell no. I had the most
No.
amazing time. I might have been an absolute dick in the last couple of years. I might have been a prat, but I would go back and do it all again, and
I would, I
and
think.
yeah,
And
and
do you know
I do
why
get
I would?
jealous. I get jealous of people going out having fun because I
Oh, do
do
you?
secretly miss it, you know? I do
Ah,
secretly miss it. And but I know that it will kill me. It's
yeah,
gonna kill me if I pick
yeah,
up. And I don't think it'll
yeah,
be through seizures or illness. I think it'll be through an accident of such
yeah.
because I've become out of control. Um and And yeah, I walk past pubs and I'm like, "Ooh, lucky bastards." I know you do as well sometimes. You peek in and go, "Oh, remember the days." Well, you can't help it, can you?
Maybe, no, maybe at times you do, yeah. But the thing is, I think my alcoholism has become my superpower. Has become my strength, especially with the line of work I am in today. I really see it as my superpower.
So explain what work you went into. You moved to the Isle of Wight. You moved out of London.
Yeah.
You didn't move into nursing until you got to Isle of Wight, did you?
No, I studied in London. I did my nurse training in London. Um, but so I work as a nurse. I worked as a nurse when I came to Isle of Wight, and today I work as a senior substance misuse nurse in a prison.
Wow.
And off yesterday, I'm officially a nurse prescriber as well, so I can
Congratulations.
prescribe medication. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I'm very passionate about my work, and I love what I do, and hopefully I can bring them some hope
So
that recovery is possible and change is possible.
So you've come from almost dying of alcoholism to
Yeah,
yesterday graduating as a
independent nurse prescriber.
for people with drug and alcohol
Yeah,
issues.
mainly, but yeah, that's what I do. So
That's
mainly, yeah.
just
Hmm.
nuts.
I know. Can you believe
Can
it?
you imagine that?
For me, sitting in the ship,
Yeah.
drinking shots of yerbas.
Could you
And
imagine
today I
that?
actually have a quite respected job, and I think
Within that
people
space,
appreciate what I do.
within that
It's
space,
mad.
I just, and it's perfect because it's, is it Alcohol Awareness Week as well?
It is indeed, Yeah,
So this, like, the universe has lined up this whole podcast because I didn't want the podcast to be all about DJs and the good side of things. I'm never going to go into the politics of dance music or the negative side, but I will go into this part that there
yeah,
is some real dangers out there when it comes to
there is,
the dance music culture, the lifestyle that we led. I think it's less prominent nowadays, but yeah, I will quite happily discuss this if it helps one person literally pick up the phone or go to an AA meeting. Then doing this
Mm,
podcast is worth it. Do you remember your first AA meeting?
I do. Yeah, I had. But you know what? I actually think that was when I was still drinking like you.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I think I went there drunk, which I think is important that we say it's okay. They will welcome you to
Hmm.
any meeting like that. That's why they're there, to help you. If you're struggling, even if you are still drinking, go, reach out,
Yeah,
still go.
it's a start. I've seen many
It's a
people.
start.
I've seen many people turn up to their first meeting with a bottle in their bag still.
Yeah, it's okay.
And today they're 5 years sober because they took
Because
that
someone
first
there
step
will talk to you regardless.
and give you their
That's
phone
it.
number or something. And then I think what the great thing about AA is that you realize you're not alone.
That's it.
It's a weird thing, isn't it? Because you think you are the only person in the world that is,
Yeah.
and then you go into this room and you see all these people that are completely different but normal, from bank managers through um to teachers through to whatever,
Yeah,
and it's just like,
absolutely.
what, you had this as well? And I'm listening of stories. I'm just like, we used to call them war stories,
Yeah. And then you hear the similarities.
and you
That
identify
like
with that. And then
that's
you
it.
realize that if these people got better, I can get better. And it took me
And you don't
ages.
feel so lonely anymore.
Yeah, yeah. And it's because you feel quite shameful as well. I think,
Yeah,
especially when you start hiding drinks and
that's
things like
it.
that. That is like,
Yeah.
fuck me, what am I doing? And topping up drinks with water so it doesn't look like it's being used. And I've done all that shit, and it's it's not the best experience that. But how did the rehab process in Sweden work for you? It was AA based, yeah?
It was AA based, yeah. And, it was tough. It was tough. And obviously, I was missing Dean and Oliver. And and at that time, I didn't really know how it all was gonna pan out for me. Because I was still unsure of how will I ever do this life without alcohol.
Mm.
I couldn't see how I would live. And that's quite sad, isn't it, really? But yeah, it was. I'm deeply grateful for that rehab
Did
and
you do
for.
the 12 steps in there?
Well, I didn't as such. No, it was
No,
based on it.
you started
I
when you were in
started that.
Croydon, didn't you?
When I came back,
You were
I went
studying them then.
straight into AA,
Look,
and I did the 12 steps, which is recommended in the big book.
yeah, I've got it
Which
right. It sits right
and
next to me.
I
And
was talking.
when I panic, I put my hand on it. It's like
That's it. I still have it close to my bedside table.
you
It's
used to
there.
write a lot in yours, didn't you?
Oh, it's everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Beautiful,
I remember when you were
beautiful
doing your
book.
steps, and I did mine as well with my sponsor, and
Hmm.
they're life changing.
They're life changing.
And you can the 12-step process. You can adapt to so many things. You can
Yeah,
adapt it to gambling. You can
yeah,
adapt it to cocaine. You can adapt it to all sorts of issues
all
because it's
sorts.
generally the same.
But Dexter, that's isn't it? Why? The book hasn't been changed since 1934 because it works.
Yeah.
If you do the 12 steps as they recommend, it works.
Where it changes is the room's interpretation, I
Yeah.
find. And because alcoholics, a room full of alcoholics will generally have a room full of opinions,
Oh, absolutely.
and there is some, and don't get me wrong. I've seen a lot of friction within AA as well, fallouts and arguments, and
For
just
sure.
for clash of ideas and how to do things, because there's a lot of ego still there with people who are still recovering, and so yeah, I think some rooms can be really constructive, but some can be destructive.
And I think you find if you're in a place and you think you're going to go to an AA meeting, you'll find the meeting that'll suit you. You'll find your people,
Yeah,
and you'll find the place like you feel home. You'll find your home group.
yeah. I mean, I found my one properly online. The one in Manchester was good, but I was still drinking through it, and I was just trying. But it was kind of those first steps, telling myself, you've got a problem now. And then I think I was in London at one point when I come back from Croatia, and I was really in a bad way, and ended up at your house, I think, because I
Yeah,
was in such a bad way.
yeah,
And then it was soon after that when I come back. I think it was another few months where I went into the summer, and that was it. I just surrendered.
yeah,
Game over. Game over. I was literally about to lose my family,
yeah.
and it's just like, wow. And I'll never forget the first time that I met my sponsor. He's like, "Are you serious about this? Have you had enough?"
Yeah.
I was like, I was just literally, help me. Help me,
That's
please.
it.
I'd never met this guy before in my life. I'd spoken to him once on the phone, and I was just like literally telling him everything that I'd ever done. And I was just like,
Yeah.
help me, please. And he is, he is a very well-renowned person in this region for helping people. We don't have a lot of AA in Croatia. So it's still quite a taboo subject,
Mm-hmm.
alcoholism and stuff like that, because they don't want to accept there's a big problem here, whereas there is kind of a big problem in these countries with
Yeah.
that. It's still a little bit underground,
Yeah.
but we have our conventions and all that sort of stuff, so it's slowly becoming more and more popular. And the steps, I don't agree. The rooms is going to a room or an online group is okay, but you must do the steps. And I wasn't doing the steps. I was just doing the rooms. So going through the motions. And I think if you're serious about it, you've got to do that. Now, there's a lot of people I've noticed in this part of the world who haven't done the steps,
Mm.
but they'll go to the rooms, and that's enough for them. But I think you're living on a thin line there of falling off, because you need the tools in your toolbox.
That's it. That's where you gather your tools for life, isn't it? For how to cope with life. It's simple as that, really. And if the 12 steps that's what they're for.
I mean, if anyone's unfamiliar with the 12 steps and watching this, you're literally getting rid of all that baggage from your life and getting to the bottom reason why you're drinking. I think
Yeah.
it's still a little bit, it's just a very
Yes, for
powerful
sure.
thing, but
That's it.
it's that powerful that about 3 or 4 months into doing the steps, we were walking through Zadar, me and my sponsor, and everything appeared brighter,
Mm.
and everything smelt better, and everything. I was like, Jay, it was just weird. It's just like the grass is greener, and it's that powerful. Honestly, it is life through a new set of glasses, because I haven't pumped
Yeah.
myself full of toxins for the
That's
last,
it, isn't it? Yeah.
poison, and
Yeah.
it was life changing. And then the clarity of thought that you get. I mean,
Yeah.
yours must have been nothing when you were going through that seizure period, except for where's my next
Yeah.
drink coming from? I
It
mean,
was a painful bubble at that time.
that's you.
Very painful.
We have completely different types of alcoholism.
Yeah.
I'm a binger. You were an everyday drinker,
Yeah.
without a doubt. But I could quite easily go several months. Well, no, I couldn't. I could go 6 weeks possibly, and then I'd look for any win in life, like, oh, I did this happened at work, I'm going to celebrate, or it's my birthday, and look for any excuse to go and celebrate that period of sobriety and get wrecked. That's how mad it was.
It's mad.
It sends you absolutely insane. And the sad thing is, I think people are scared of AA because of the whole religion thing. Well, it's not religion, it's spiritual.
You know, funny thing you should say that. This morning I saw a friend of mine who I used to go to meetings with has rewritten the book
All right.
to take out the religious aspects, some moral aspects, some aspects that I felt a bit, should we say, outdated. So if anyone want to do the 12 steps or want to get into the big book but may feel hesitant because of that, oh, but it's all the God business, reach out to me. I'll happy send you the link to where you can
Because
find
it was
a
originally
book.
founded by some quite religious guys, Bob, and
Yeah,
and
it was.
they used the God as their higher power, whereas a
Yeah,
higher power can be anything. It can be your
yeah,
children, it can be your dead
yeah,
relatives, it can be the universe, it could be anything.
yeah,
And I've spoken to so many people who won't go into AA because I'm not going into that religious stuff,
yeah.
and
And unfortunately, that's
it's misinterpreted,
yeah.
and
I think so.
it's killing people,
Yeah.
sadly, because this is
No, it's
a silent
not
killer.
everybody exactly, and then not everybody gets to reach recovery. And I think I feel utterly grateful for my recovery because not everybody is willing or can hold their hand up and ask for help and accept help.
I don't think a lot of people actually get to. That's what going to be my next question. What does the word surrender mean to you? I don't think people get to that point. They don't surrender. They don't think they've
No.
got a problem, and they're too
And yet,
scared to surrender, possibly.
that's it. It is very scary. It is very scary. So yeah, surrender for me was that. Feeling like, okay, I've got either to hold my hand up or I will die.
Yeah.
That was my,
And people do
two
die.
options I had.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of people die every year from this, and it's never really talked about in the press because it's a taxable commodity. And obviously drugs and things like that are talked, and illegal stuff are talked about far more, whereas alcohol kills more people on a yearly basis than
And let's say in the UK, the guidelines are 14 units a week. So that's what? A pint is 3 units. So what should we say? 4 pints a week. That's kind of your guideline. Or 4 big glasses of wine a week. I think most people do drink. Many people probably drink more than that. And then it's also in the guidelines that you should have a few days between. You should not drink every day. And I think when you look at the guidelines, and if I go back to how you drank, you're a binge drinker.
I
You
do
probably
4
used all your
pints in an
units.
hour.
Yeah, exactly.
I've done it. I've done 3-4 pints in an hour,
Yeah.
no problem. Boom, because I used to be embarrassed going back to the bar so quickly.
Yeah.
It got that bad because I used to go back and
And
I was like, and then I used to have to go to another barman because I was really embarrassed. I'd literally been up 10 minutes before. We were good at it, weren't we?
we were good at it. You had plans in place though for that. But say, okay, so go back to that. Say you drink 14 units a week or more. So research is saying that, yes, you may become alcohol dependent if you drink more than that, but you might have heart problems. You might suffer a stroke, liver issue for sure, or diabetes. There is so many other health issues that can be caused by drinking excessively, not only alcoholism. I think that's important
I
to be mindful of.
because I live abroad, and I live on a little island away from lots of people, which I prefer because I prefer cats. I prefer cats.
You prefer cats.
And I only get to see people, like people that I haven't seen for a while, maybe once or twice a year. And sometimes I don't see them people for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But people who I know drink heavily,
Mm.
I can see the change.
Yeah.
Every single time I see them, I'm like, fuck, man, you're looking
Yeah.
old. You're looking
Yeah.
drained. The sugar is making you bloat, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's damaging your body. And I was exactly. I've seen photos of me from 10 years ago, and I looked older then than
Yeah.
I did today, you know, and that's scary. You know, it's a really, really scary thing. But I just don't think it's discussed enough. I really don't.
No,
But that's why I wanted
neither
to.
do I.
Yeah, I mean, how did you rebuild trust? Did you lose trust of yourself and being around with your behavior when were you embarrassed about what had happened, or did that recovery period allow you to forgive yourself?
I think so. I think it was a work in progress for me. It took time. It took time to forgive myself, and especially in the early days with Oliver, that was a process that I had to really work on forgiving myself, and I had to really. I felt like I had let Dean down a lot
Mm.
because I put a lot on him, a massive strain on him and our relationship. Um, Even though, yeah, he was an absolute saint, but it takes a lot. It takes time to rebuild your trust with people, and like you say, with yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I was really ashamed because I upset my mum, and
Yeah,
they were so worried about me all the time, and then I
yeah.
would go missing for a few weeks, and especially when I was in Ibiza, sometimes in my last year, I was uncontactable for like 3-4 weeks because I'd
Wow.
just be in the pub, you know,
Yeah,
and 'cause things weren't going well with the event business end because the after parties got banned, and there's all sorts of stuff, and I just decided
mm.
I just turned to alcohol to
Yeah.
mask all of that, and yeah,
But it's
and
a great number of feelings, isn't it? It's
yeah.
great.
I mean, also another important thing, people say to me, "I don't know whether I've got a drink problem." If you think you've got a drink problem, you have.
Mm.
Do you think? I always go, but that's my rule of thumb. I think if you
Yeah,
think
I
you've got a
think.
problem, you've probably got one.
Yeah, I think if you're asking yourself that question, it's well worth having a chat with someone and
Yeah, yeah,
to explore that maybe you have. Maybe you need to do some changes or make some changes in your life.
yeah, yeah. And so you've gone from being. Did you want to go into addiction recovery when you started to be a nurse? Or is it just,
Yeah,
or you wanted to? Yeah. So you
yeah,
did your nursing qualifications, then
yeah,
you worked in the prison, and whilst you've been in the
yeah.
prison, you've been doing your, is it like a degree? Is
Yeah, it's a master's degree.
Yeah, well, which you completed yesterday, and
Yeah,
yeah,
I had
yeah,
my
you graduated yesterday.
graduation. Yeah,
So, and now you're fully immersed in the recovery world. That's
yeah,
nuts.
I know.
I still remember
Look at
how.
me now.
Yeah, I still remember. I saw you in some of your worst moments, and you've seen me in some of my worst moments,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
yeah, and
But you see,
it's
that's a proof that if you want it, if you want change, anything is possible. Anything.
yeah, yeah.
There is recovery here
It
readily
works if you work
available.
it.
It
Yeah,
works if you work it.
it
And
works,
just
and it
hold out your hand. Even, I'm pretty sure you'll agree to this. Send us a message. I'm happy to
absolutely,
talk to anybody
absolutely, and
24/7.
point them in the right direction, you know,
That's
because
it.
if we're not right for someone, there's going to be someone out there that is. But um,
Absolutely. That's right.
it's I forgot what I was going to say then, but it those 160, how many pages is it? It's only very short but
164 or
four
so.
four, isn't it? Yeah, 164 pages. The rest is all stories and stuff like that. But
Stories.
the first
Mm.
section of this book is this tiny little bit here is the steps. So this isn't like, if
Mm.
you do the 12 steps, you don't have to do the whole book. So don't let it scare you off. But if you do follow it and do it, it will work.
It
And
works.
and the thing is, just because we've said that, it doesn't mean it's easy.
No, it's not easy. You have to look at some hard truth about yourself,
And
and
you got to
you
write
have
them
to do
down.
some work. You have to
You,
write them down. You
you
have
got
to
to
do some
you
work.
got to talk to people about it.
It's
You've
tough.
you've got to really admit to what you've
Dig
done.
deep, isn't it?
Fucking hell, yeah. Step 5 and 6. Oof.
It's tough.
Brutal. And then you've got to make amends, you know?
And make amends.
And
I think that's
I'm still
important.
doing that. I still do that. Every year when I go to Ibiza, if I see someone that I fucked up I made
Oh, that's good.
yeah, I still go, can I have a quick word, you know, because
Oh, that's lovely.
yeah, I do. And weirdly, I've reconnected with some of these people, and I see them, and we're good friends again now. But I know I wasn't in the person that I was then. I can't recognize anymore.
Yeah.
It was like a different version of me, completely.
Because we became very ill.
Yeah.
And I think that masks, who you really are inside. And I think today I'm able to be my true self. And I've grown much stronger. And like I said before, being an alcoholic is my superpower. It's my strength.
Yeah. And
I'm very proud of it,
Yeah,
I'm proud
and
of it.
also I'm a little bit weird with I don't my problem was alcohol, never any of the other stuff, you know. I never really had issues with that we won't talk about, but all the other stuff that goes with Ibiza. And I've still got nothing against it, but I could if I have one drink, that's it for me, you know.
Yeah.
But if I went the other way and started getting off my head on other things, I'd be okay. But it's the alcohol which is the devil on my shoulder. And that's what's
Absolutely.
doing push-ups in the corner of this room, just waiting for me to slip up, and it will be there so fast. So you have to keep on working on that sobriety. Because I think the longer you're sober, the more relaxed you get, more complacent.
Maybe. But it's
For me, it
important
is.
to, when I wake up every day, I actually have a thought of, I am still an alcoholic. And then there's certain steps I need to do, certain things I have to kind of be mindful of, because
Yeah.
I'm still an alcoholic. And I have to remind myself every single day that I am still an alcoholic. One drink is never safe for me.
Oh God, could you imagine? I also think I lost my rock bottom is my hangovers as well. It wasn't the drinking was the easy part. It
Yeah.
was the chaos and the destruction afterwards, like your seizures and like your biting your tongue. I would have these 72, maybe longer hour hangovers, and I was in hell in my head, in absolute hell. And I was like, why is this hangover so bad? And then obviously I realized it was depression and anxiety being triggered by the alcohol. And I could drink 20 pints tomorrow, no problem, but I ain't got another hangover left in me.
That's
You know,
it.
I've not got another hangover left in me. And as I said to you before, if anyone's out there thinking they've got a problem, you probably should speak to someone about it before it gets too progressed, because it can be. By the time we got back from Ibiza, we were in the dark depths of alcoholism, but we just didn't
You're
realize.
right. Yeah.
You know, it didn't really. We'd been drinking every day heavily for 10 years, pretty much.
And you know what? Like you say, I think someone who's drinking heavy, we're not saying that you're an alcoholic.
No.
Maybe there's things you can do and change so you don't get to where we're at and where we were at. Maybe take some right steps now. Do some adjustments how you drink.
I think alcoholism is that an allergy to alcohol, and the allergy is where it triggers that craving, you know, that horrendous craving. And that's kind of my other rule of thumb. If you have this insanely unstoppable craving for alcohol after you've had that first drink, you got to start looking at yourself. I mean, it even says in the book, take yourself to the pub, try and have a few drinks and then leave. Doesn't it? I don't know. I can't quote verbatim like my sponsor can. It's amazing. He can literally just quote the whole book.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Some people can. Some people are so good.
They're great. They're great. And they're the people you listen to because they've really studied it and the way the wording's structured. And it does say, if you think you've got a problem drinking, go to the pub, have a few drinks, and then try and leave. If you can't, there's a problem there. So
have a chat with someone.
Yeah. And don't be scared of AA because I'm certainly not religious. And but I do have a higher power and it does look after me. And it looks after my family. And everyone has their own higher power. Yeah,
you can make it whatever you want. It doesn't need to be God as such.
No.
Anything.
Mine's not.
Make it anything.
I even heard of someone's higher power being Ronald McDonald. You know Ronald McDonald because it was just a random thing. He was
Why not?
He was on his shoulder all the time, and he was telling him not to drink.
Oh, there you go.
It was just like
if it works for you,
yeah. I know. I remember that quite clearly. So,
that's excellent.
What does becoming a prescriber mean to you after yesterday? After you graduated, what does that allow you to do?
Oh well. Literally, do you know the BNF? That's the big book of drugs that you can prescribe in the UK.
Yes.
It's a huge book.
Yeah, like you see in the pharmacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can literally prescribe anything from there. However.
Is that wise?
It's not wise. It's not wise. I will obviously prescribe according to my profession, to my knowledge, to my expertise. Yeah. And my expertise lies right now within drug and alcohol.
And who better?
Misuse, yeah. So, I deal with a lot of people with heroin addiction, so I prescribe methadone or buprenorphine. People come in from remand, guys come into the prison and they need an alcohol detox, so we put them on, a controlled diazepam detox for a certain amount of days and, things like that.
And are they relieved when they find out that you are a fellow traveller as well? Do you ever let them, or do you let them know? I know the prisoners.
Yes, I do sometimes.
Because they're prisoners, obviously. So you have to be a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be quite mindful of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I do sometimes say, well, if it's,
if they're struggling.
You read the room. Yeah. You read the room if they're struggling. And if I feel like it will actually help this person, then I do disclose that I'm also in recovery and I know what you're going through. I can understand where you're coming from.
And I think that makes people identify with, hold on, these people, they know what they're
very
on about.
much so.
Yeah,
very much so. And I think there's a different kind of trust being built then for me and my patient.
Especially
when they realize
with
that
them
I've
being
been
in
there.
prison and you being regarded as, there's like guards and it must be like us and them, and
it is, yeah, a little bit.
Of course it is. Like the police and the Guardia Civil and the workers, us and them. So to have that trust where someone really does need their fucking help of getting well, because if they don't get that right treatment, they're going to go into seizures or have that issue,
exactly.
They need someone to trust. So I can't believe you've gone so far.
Well, thank you. Me neither, actually. But I knew that I set out. I had to go. I had to go to like Croydon College and do different courses. I can't even remember all the courses now, but it took me a long time to become a nurse.
Yeah.
It took me 5 years.
You're a mother as well of three and a dog.
The dog. It took me a long time, but I knew from the beginning when I decided to be a nurse that this was where I was going to go with it, to become a substance misuse nurse and to work with.
I never knew that. I knew you wanted to be a nurse.
It's been a plan in making for a few years.
And that was from what that lady said that day in Mayday Hospital. You used to go to Murder Hospital.
Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Imagine if I got to meet her now and tell her how much you changed my life.
Yeah.
Do you know, this is why I say to people how important it is to talk to people and how important it can be of just a few words of kindness, and
Yeah.
how much a few words can mean to the other person. Kindness is everything. Just
Yeah.
a few kind words, changed my life.
And Dean, what an unbelievable human being for not raising his voice to you, because I have seen people approach alcoholism in
Yeah.
the wrong way. And by that, I mean people going, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
You need to give up because you're a disgrace. In a way, trying to bully them into being sober. And
Don't you
or
agree that?
shaming them into being
Yeah,
that can fucking kill someone.
absolutely. And don't you agree that alcoholism is one of the illnesses, one of the diseases that people get mad at you for having?
Yeah.
If you have another disease, a heart disease, liver disease, a cancer, people don't get mad at you. You get sympathy. But having alcoholism, people often get mad at you for having this illness before they have the understanding that it's a disease.
It's
It's an
crazy that
illness.
Dean understood from the start.
He did.
He had
He had patience of a saint. He really did.
Just amazing. That's why I love Dean so much. But because he's seen me in my worst moments as well.
Yeah.
Fuck, poor old Dean, eh? He's had a few
You're
of us. He's surrounded by us lot. But we're not the only ones that came back from Ibiza in trouble. I mean, obviously we won't name any
Certainly
names,
not.
but there was a lot of us from that era who came back to England and then realised we did not drink like other people. I knew straight away because I was in Croydon, and even though I was going to the gym regularly, I wasn't. If I was going up to London to a meeting or something, that Weatherspoons in Victoria Station, when you got the escalator, I'd always have to have a few drinks in there before I'd even miss my train back, just to have a few more beers, and any excuse to have a quick beer before somewhere, I would be doing that. And I'm just like, is this normal? And it's not. I just figured it wasn't normal. And then the blackouts really started getting worse and worse and worse. And yeah, that was like, so what do you think? What do you think Ibiza taught you that helps you support other people today? Because obviously that was a big part of your drinking life. I mean, has that taught you anything in particular?
Well, in a way, it made me who I am today.
Yeah. It camouflaged the illness.
You certainly did. But also maybe it taught me we can't take everything so serious. We need to have a laugh about it. And you know what? I think as well, I decided very early on that I was going to be very open with the fact I'm an alcoholic. Because I thought, like we just talked about, there were so many of us. And I think if I could help one person, if I can, guide one person to recovery, it's worth me being very open and honest about my illness. So I decided that straight away, to be super honest about it.
Yeah. And I've had messages from people saying, if you're so, why on earth do you put on these parties and stuff? Why are you still involved in Facebook groups celebrating that culture? I tell you what, I'm involved with it because it was hilarious. And
It was
hilarious. And we had a fucking great time, and I will never shut the door on that.
Me
it was
neither.
amazing. And I miss it.
The absolute best time of our lives.
It was so much fun. And we all lived above the ship, by the way. And
we did.
yeah.
Which was great.
And, so if you could go back and speak to your younger self in Ibiza, what would you say? Big question.
Oh gosh, what would I say? Life is going to take some sharp turns.
Yeah, quickly.
But hold on, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Just hold on tight. It's going to be okay.
Would you do it all again, Ibiza?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how fucked up it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
I would as well. In a flat.
Would I change anything? Probably not.
No.
Probably not.
No. I wouldn't. I sorry about that. I sometimes, because obviously I'm involved in this nostalgia type retro parties and groups,
Yeah.
I do miss it. And I feel sad,
Yeah,
and I go, I wish I
of
could go
course.
back. I wish I could go back to that day. And I'm like, should I be doing this? Because it triggers a lot of memories, and I'm just like, I can't do that anymore. And I still
Oh,
see people going out and doing that, and it just, but I wouldn't change a thing.
and
Yeah,
Dexter is who you are. This is
yeah,
you, you know. This is where you are at your best, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Talking
yeah.
about it.
Yeah, I like talking. I think it's more of my therapy doing these podcasts as well.
Yeah,
You
probably.
know, um,
Probably.
because it is
This
difficult.
is your step 10,
Yeah, yeah.
your daily step 10.
I know. The one thing I want to do is help more people. Now I'm
Yeah.
very limited in helping people because in Croatia there's not a lot of people who are openly
I bet.
wanting help.
Yeah.
And also there's that language barrier that doesn't really help at all because it's a very complex language. Even though, and that your level of English, trying to get these very important, delicate points across, has to be correct. Because if you don't, if you are that conduit. Yeah, you know, you are that conduit
Yeah.
between the book and them, and getting them
Yeah.
better. But if you get that message wrong, it's
Yeah.
yeah, it can be dangerous. So
It can be,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, I'm always free to help people out. But Emma, I love you so much, and thank you for doing this. I think it's just such an important topic, and congratulations on graduating yesterday, and
Oh, thank
say
you.
well done to Dean for fixing the headphones, even though he's a
Thank you.
sound engineer.
And thank
Oh,
you so much for having me. And if anyone wants to have a chat with me, reach out,
yeah,
please.
yeah, and hopefully this podcast will be on YouTube for a long time. We're not expecting hundreds of thousands of views overnight, but as the channel grows, I'm gonna tag it more, and it'll be in the next, it'll be popping up more, just so if
Lovely.
people do have a problem, they can reflect back and see that there's the two of us sitting here,
And
and
change is possible.
we were at death's door. You know,
Yeah.
I can still see it in my head now where I was, and just kind of,
Yeah.
it was just horrendous. Um, and now, and don't get me wrong, even when you're sober, life's still hard.
Certainly. Certainly.
Yeah, and you need those tools in your toolbox to
To cope with life.
cope with life on life's terms, because that's what
That's it.
we weren't doing that before. We were using alcohol as the mechanism to cope with life.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
other people use other things such as drugs or
Mm-hmm.
gambling or whatever,
Whatever.
Anyway,
That's it.
let's leave it on that. I know you're busy. Go and get out in the sun in the beautiful Isle of Wight.
I will. I will.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sweetheart. And I will see you soon.